Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. My name is Marilyn Shannon, and this is the Breaking Free Show. And I am delighted to have you join us today. Some of you might be in the morning time, some of you are in the evening time, some of you are in my time. But whatever time you're in, we're so happy that you have chosen to spend your time with us. So thank you so very much. And just remember that during our show, Anna, would you put that up for me for 1 minute? The first slide. This show is for you. Please feel free anytime during our show to connect with us. This is your license to talk, to communicate, to share, ask questions, whatever it is. This is your time, and please feel free to do that. We have a wonderful show in store. Before we get started, I want to say hi to Amnon.
Hello,
How are you?
I'm just fine. How are you?
Good. I'm doing good, actually. I'm doing real good.
Did you have a good weekend?
I did. I did. I had a, let's
And
see,
the
I don't
week is
remember.
so far good?
So far, so good. And yours?
Just fine.
Just fine. So Amnon is our producer, and he's here keeping all the buttons straight as we go forward with our show. Feel free to connect with us in our chat. You can do that by putting your name, nickname, whatever you like, in that little line and join in the chat. There'll be questions, there'll be commentary, there'll be all kinds of things going on. Love to have you there. And during the show, you are more than welcome to communicate with us at 919-518-9773 if you have access to a phone. And if you don't, then please communicate with us through Skype at computers, that's plural, 2K Voice. You'll come in on Skype Voice and you can join the show from there. So today, we're going to have a very special guest, someone who I love dearly, who's on my Skywire show on Google Plus, and she's going to come on, and we're going to be talking about intuition, healing, crystals. She's written a phenomenal book that took, I think, 10 years maybe to write. It's 600 and some odd pages of crystals and information. And we're going to go to her in just a second. But we're also going to pay a tribute to Dr. Wayne Dyer during the show. He is someone who meant a lot to me through my spiritual journey, my growth. He was the first person that I could hear with a message. The very first person 27 years ago who spoke to me through his words. So we're going to get to him as well. So feel free that if you have anything to add about Wayne Dyer along the way, that you continue to chat with us as well. So with that, let me welcome Margarita to our show. Welcome. Hey there.
Hi,
Hey, how are you?
I am good. I'm very good.
Good. Tell everybody where you are. Where are you now?
I'm in Kingston, Ontario, and that's in Canada, and we're in Eastern time here as well.
Cool. And she's on that beautiful chair that looks like just this furry, beautiful thing.
Yeah, many people have asked me about that chair with the it's a skin from a goat, I think, and it was given to me, and because I do some kind of meditations, right? And then some yogis, they sit on a skin in a cave and meditate. So I connected with that skin and the animal itself, and I've treated it very, very precious. So then I thought, I don't want to put it on the ground. I wanted to put it so that I could respect it because it's, after all, coming from an animal. And I connected with this animal, and lo and behold, I got the permission, believe it or not, to actually use it with respect. So I put it here on my show so that whatever comes out of my mouth is aligned with my heart and the higher self. So that's a little backstory on that.
Good. Well, we want to hear all the backstories. That's why this show is here. So remember, everyone, this show is about freedom, right? So we love to bring to you people who have a tool, a strategy, a technique, a story, a philosophy, something where they have broken free, have a way of breaking free, have a toe in the freedom side, whatever it is, so that the more we share those stories and those philosophies and ideas, the grander it is, and the more freedom we all will acquire, and the stronger we all get, with all inspired, empowered, whatever that is. So Margarita has done a study, and she's going to help us break free even more today. So tell everybody who you are and what your story is.
Well, I'm a normal person. I was born in Sweden, and then I came here 25 years or so into Canada. And then I started my healing journey by being interested with crystals. And I went to gem shows, and I love crystals. I mean, they're so nice to hold and whatever. But then I realized that there is something else in there. And then at some point, I started to explore how this kind of thing, a crystal, could affect our inner system so that we can heal. And so I took a very beautiful course with my crystal teacher, Katrina Raphael, in Hawaii. And that journey has opened up, I mean, layers upon layers upon layers. Some people think that there is a magical thing with crystals. There's no magical thing with the crystals. The crystals, to me, is a tuning fork. It's something that is so old. This one probably is 600 million years old. It keeps this frequency that it has very steady. You know that everything in the universe have movement. Even solid objects have atoms in there and electrons. And during my chemistry study in a university, I understand that these particles in the subatomic level always moves, and that generates a frequency. So anything that you can see emanate a frequency. And so I thought, could I use this crystal to actually improve how I can do my healing better? And so that's how it got started for me.
So, did you want to? Amnon wants to ask you to get.
Yeah, go ahead and turn off the website.
Yeah, the video isn't as strong, so maybe you want to shut the website and just keep the Skype up. So do we place meaning and healing and idea and energy on these crystals, or do these crystals already come with a certain degree of healing or meaning? Like the one you're holding in your hand, is that a specific crystal for something specific?
Sure. To me, if you don't know anything about crystals, you can see them as different frequencies. Like the tuning forks can have different frequency, right? And let's say if I have rose quartz here, that's same, it's material is quartz, both of them, but this has a little bit different frequency than the rose quartz. And it relates to the chakra levels. So to make a long story short, I discovered that, and then I tried to apply it for the last 18 years. And if you think about a crystal as something that it has this frequency, and then something is misaligned inside of your body, maybe you don't think that you love yourself enough, or you have traumas from the past so that you want to heal. By holding or being with the crystal, this is creating a field around it, like any other thing. You could say it's aura, let's say, but when you are in proximity of this, then you can, for those of you who can, you can feel it, and then you can actually move that in anomaly, that imbalance inside of your body, so that you actually get balance and release that what you don't need anymore. And I talk about that a lot in my book.
Okay, so I years ago when I took Reiki, I remember that they took, it was the most incredible feeling I'd had. I was, doing Reiki, and they were demonstrating the power of crystals, and I wasn't facing this, I was facing out. And so the gentleman took a crystal. I didn't even know what was happening really, and he took it down my spine, and I had this incredible warmth that I felt. And I was like, whoa, what is that? Because he didn't touch me. He just took this crystal down my spine and I could feel it. So, I mean, is that what you're talking about? Is that like feeling the energy from something like that?
Happened there is probably that your Reiki person channeled energy through the crystal because there's a channel here, right? And so the life force that he does with the Reiki that comes through our hands is enhanced and focused. Like, it's focused. It's
Mm-hmm.
not dissipated like this. It's focused on one spot. So you see the point here? And
Mm-hmm.
if you then put this along the spine, people feel it. And
So,
it's about the person on the other end who sends the energy. That's what Reiki is. We take in life force and then send it out through our hands, right? But these are helpers because it's like a third hand. You can put them on the chakras and then they channel into that chakra. You don't have to have the hand on. You just have to intend the energy to go in there. So this enhances Reiki a lot.
so is that your favorite crystal?
If I have a favorite crystal, yeah, I do. I think most crystals are my favorite crystals. But one in particular, I have one here, and this one is tourmaline.
Oh, yeah.
One there is like quartz. This is tourmaline, two different families.
So,
And when you work with quartz, it's to engage and amplify your life force energy. With this particular stone, the black tourmaline, it brings us right into the core and becomes grounded in and up. So it's like very centering. So that's the main thing here.
wow. So, just out of curiosity, um, are there just millions of different types of crystals, or they all fall into just a few categories?
Well, you don't have to be overwhelmed. There is numerous minerals, and minerals is a crystal that has a specific form, right? Uh, Between rocks and crystals, rocks are composites of different minerals, and quartz is a particular mineral, so it's like a specific one. So if you use rocks, then you get the more fancier signal, but you can use rocks too. And when you are in the mountains, how grounding that is,
Yeah.
like there is the main category we use in healing is quartz.
Hmm. Gotcha. So, what kinds of things do you know that you can heal with these crystals? What have you been able to heal, or what are people able to heal with crystals?
Well, I think that the crystals are only the tools. The healing is done in our inner system. It's just that they help us focus the energy and intention and remember it. And as I've seen in many things online, that there is spontaneous self-healings and remarkable miracle cures, whatever. This is something that a person does inside, depending on their beliefs. And so we can use a crystal to actually discover if a belief is good or not, if there is a belief that you not need to change because it causes you harm. For example, oh, I'm not good enough, let's say. So you can use, for example, a rose quartz with that, but you have to do the work. It's like your inner beliefs needs to be addressed, and because if you have a fearful belief, there is a fear underneath, and unless you start to face that fear, then you will still stay in a suffering state. So it's not that the crystals do something. It's not a magical pill. It's a tool that we can use to actually heal ourselves. It's very important. Uh, you know, if you have medication, of course, the medication can address certain things, but it's the person themselves to actually will their own healing that does it. And even if you didn't have any kind of tools at all, there it's possible to do self-healing. But when you have a tool, you can use it, and then it goes faster, and it goes easier, and it goes more immediate. But you have to be committed to do it. If you don't, then you stay stuck. That's all what it is. And so when you learn about, let's say, energy with Reiki, which I have, and other modalities like how the energy goes in the body and things like that, then educate yourself, and that's the most important. And in my story, I have a story of that. I went to a very good friend of mine right now, but I didn't know her that well at the first. So I came to her for a session, and that was way in the beginning, even before I studied crystals. And so I had a session with her, and she put crystals on, and then she does something with the hands, and then she said, okay, it's done. And I didn't feel really anything. I didn't feel anything. It was like, okay, well, I'll try it at least. And then when I came home after half an hour, I felt my body just drain. Like I was so tired. And this was in the afternoon. I never take a nap in the afternoon. But I had to go inside. I just crashed on the sofa. I just fell asleep immediately. And then I had this lucid dream of some kind of object that was sitting like a foot-long spike that was in my heart. It was rusted. It was like, has been there for a long, long time. And then finally it was like slippery, and then it fell out, and then it disappeared to the side. And I felt like, wow, what was that? I had no idea that. So that is something that can happen. And then after that, I discovered that I had so much more potential than I had before. And all the problems I had, emotional problems, difficult relationship, and all kinds of things solved. It's like coming to beginning the healing journey. And then, of course, when you get the insight, oh, you can do something about your condition, you're going to seek out sources that you can actually use. And crystals was that for me. And then I went to study crystals in Hawaii, and then I started to teach that crystal healing. And, you know, I can never forget that, because when that thing came out, before I had no clue, because everything was blocked. The spike was there to stop me from that. And when it came out, it's like I was reborn. I was like opening up to a completely new reality that I have never imagined happen. And what can, you know, like you wake up. It was the wake up moment. And from there on, there was no stopping. I just had to learn more about this. And I got so enthusiastic. And also now I want to help other people, because I was helped by this, my first mentor. Right. And I couldn't give up to see that maybe this is for everyone. Anyone can do this. If they're interested, if they want to heal, they can.
So, okay, so this is some of what Margarita was sharing with us is, well, you can take a pill, and maybe it might get rid of, you know, something, but then if you don't do the work, the internal work, whether it's the stress, stress causes so many things, but whatever the internal work is, it's not going to get rid of it indefinitely. It's going to come back. And being open-minded to this work is so valuable. And I'm going to ask Amnon to put up the next slide, because it was a perfect entree, what she just said, into my next slide. So this is a quote from Wayne Dyer, which started my work 27 years ago when I heard this. You will see it when you believe it. So this was a paradigm change for me because the quote I grew up with was, you'll believe it when you see it, right? This changed it for me. You will see it when you believe it. The reverse. First, you have to believe that something is possible. So first you have to know, you have to know that it's possible first. And then anything can happen after that. I think is so valuable. So in conjunction with what Margarita just said, she was open to what these crystals, she had an affinity for these crystals. She was open to it. And then the world just opened up. So Chris is asking a really cool question. So when you choose a crystal to work with, what do you look for? I mean, you see all these gorgeous crystals on the shelf. What do you choose? How is it? Is it the color? Is it the shape? What is it that pulls your attention, draws you to it?
Well, it depends on each person, right? And each person have a different set of problems inside and issues or wishes and desires. And if a crystal resonate with some of these thought forms that the person have, the person usually notice that crystal because it resonates. It's like a resonance. It's like the bee and the flower. The bee sees something that they want and they go to that flower and get it, and the flower needs that, and then so there is a mutual benefit. And I think that crystals are a huge gift for humanity to actually use because I mean, we use food, we use vegetables, our environment is built up by crystals, and it holds energy. And if you have, let's say, difficult people around you, like negativity, you can actually surround yourself with some of these and then block them out and say, no, I don't want to have that negativity. I want to be positive. I want to be somebody who can do things, who can accomplish things, and actually speak up and be genuine and authentic. And so this what has crystals has done for me. So I mean, in my life, which I can't go back to, because when you wake up a little bit like that, like I did, you can't go back because you have a glimpse of something. I could say a wow moment, and you want to search for it. It's like this. It's like if you have that awakening, then there is no turning back, because why would you go back to pain and suffering?
No, there's no way you can't when you have that, and I'm sure many of you that are listening, watching, know exactly what Margarita's talking about. There is no going back. You might try, you might get scared, in a moment and go, oh my God, what was that? No, 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 let me close the door. You might try to step back, but you can't. You're never the same again once that seed of aha has been planted in your gut, in your psyche, in your essence. You just know that there's no way to go back. So it's really interesting. Margarita has a very interesting background because she grew up in a home where her father was a medical doctor, right? And your mother was an artist. Is that correct?
Yeah, she is an
She's
artist, and she is also a PhD biochemistry. She's retired, of course, now, but 79 last week she was.
so. How was growing up in that environment? I mean, it was such a cool environment to foster of who you are today. I mean, when I read that, because I didn't know that about you, I'm like, uh-huh, how cool is that and interesting. So what was it like?
It was wonderful because I see some people, some of my clients, they don't seem to have had that upbringing, the loving care in the home, doing creative things, engaging in art. I mean, I have artists on both sides of my father's side and my mother's side, some very famous ones too. But the key here is that you have to be in the question, you have to be in the investigative mind, and explore and use your creativity. If you don't use your creativity, you don't need to be a good artist, you just need to be creative. That's it. It's like you use something, you come up with something. I get new ideas. Oh, I could do it in this way too. That's also creativity. But there was a lot of painters in my family, and we also get crayons, and we were encouraged to try different things, and we were always praised for it, and so it was really loving. Of course, there is challenges too, but if a person, I have an example of a person I met. She said that no, we didn't have any kind of crayons or pencils or any kind of artist's thing. We simply didn't do that. She was completely not having the same experience as I. And of course, she was a very abused woman. So then that's something that can happen if we don't let our children be creative and explore their own mind and let them express themselves. It can happen. So that was a very good lesson for me, that not everybody had my kind of childhood. And I'm so grateful for it. And especially to my mother now, she is amazing. And she is still creative. She's going to change everything in the room, right? Being a Virgo, it has to be some changes all the time. And it's good to have changes happening and get used to change and not just sit stuck in a certain little slot, right? This is very important. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. And I want to go back to some of this because I think, it's so interesting because sometimes during the show, we talk about certain things and, we'll touch upon certain areas. But I think right now we're in a really special space. Right now we're in a space that is what all of you out there, listen up, because this is the moment. This is going to be the moment where you're going to really taste some freedom here for yourself by listening. This is freeing. And 919-518-9773, anytime you want to call in, or computers to the number 2K voice if you want to enjoy the conversation live and come in and join us. But this is where it's going to be right now. I want you to explore with me, Margarita. You just said something that was really important about the creativity and how good your creative thing is. And it's not important about how fabulous the thing is. The most important thing is that you have ideas. And that's really and she just said that better than I could have ever paraphrased it, because she was it in that moment. So go talk to us more about that, because you are all that.
Yeah, I mean, so I remember when I was a kid, I'm the oldest of five, right? And we were born in the period of 7 years. So when I was five, when I was 6.5, my youngest sister were born. And my father, who was a medical student at that time, every Sunday he took us out in the forest, and we made swings between the trees and climbed. And you can see that's like five little monkeys running around and are excited, and they're enjoying it, and they climbing and exploring nature. And we also did skiing, when there was winter. And I remember one moment when my baby sister was just little, and she was sitting on my father's shoulders on the skis, right? And then so the other little, my next youngest sister, she fell over. So we helped her up, and then he opened his backpack and peeled an orange, and then he gave us each a piece of the orange. And it was like, he was such an amazing person to share his love. And I think I'm so grateful for his heart, because his mother too is my favorite grandmother. And that moment, if you can actually have an idea what that kind of moment would be like, you can actually borrow that from me and take it on if you didn't have that in your life. So we can install this energy of love and care and enclosure and positivity. So when you see somebody else have that, you can actually take that in and adopt it as your own. You don't steal it. We just share it.
Mhm.
And
Right.
this idea can help you tremendously from getting out of very stuck places with negative mindsets and sadness and stuff like that, and improve that level of frequency, because negativities and lower emotions are very low frequency. And when you have higher frequencies, then you're feeling better. You are joyful. You actually have joy. And I mean, I'm still working on my case. I'm not finished yet. I'm still here in the body, right? So when each little neuron in your body just sparkles with juice, then you are healthy as well. Your mind is happy, and you inspire other people. So the meaning of life, I found it out actually. I mean, I know the Dalai Lama says that if you are depressed, you should try to help other people. And okay, that we can hear that. But I can tell you the meaning of life is to be an inspirational source for other people. If you can do that, you have any kind of emotional state inside, it would improve. It would improve. Because when a person have a meaning for life, meaning in their heart, and then share that gift, then that is even more inspiring than actually achieving something like winning a game, or, you know, uh, something that's illusory and goes away. When you get this gift of love and care, you can actually share it with other people.
Right.
And like Wayne Dyer says, it's like you can change your belief. You don't have to be negative all your life. You can be positive and do almost anything that you can do. Look what we did with the people going to the moon, right? You just set an intention, put an action in, and there it was.
So let me just also comment about this, and that was lovely. So one of the things that I believe Margarita is saying to everyone is, when you enjoy watching other people enjoy, when you can sit back and go, well, that was great that they enjoyed it, you enjoy it too. That's the beginning of this whole idea of you borrowing somebody's idea or borrowing somebody's creative moment, is that you get to enjoy it even as a bystander, and that begins to build. So keep that in mind. It's a great way to begin that for yourself. And as someone, that's feeling joyful and, in love and all that, by sharing that, by radiating out that feeling, you help change the vibration and the energy of everything going on around you. So it's really, really important to keep this in mind. You share it, and then you enjoy what you see in other people, and that helps spread this feeling all around. Before we go on, I want to, can you bring up not the next one, but the next one after that? I just want to show, yeah, this is your book cover. And I think it's just so colorful and bright, and I wanted everybody to see what your book looked like, the Crystal Lotus Handbook. And you created all the artwork, is that right?
Everything, yeah,
Everything.
except 4 photographs that I got from other people.
And it took you how long to do this book?
12 years.
How many?
12
12
years.
years. And it has how many pages?
608. And I can show you a inside here, pictures. Oh, well, here was the place with the Bodhi leaf, which is the sign of enlightenment, right? I'm not enlightened yet, but I show the crystals in the different color spectrums and talk about the rays. And also in this book, I have 50 different practices how to improve yourself on all levels: physical, emotional, mental, spiritual. And I can also show another page here where there's tons of people who have taken my courses and interacted with me live. And in the beginning of my book, because I published it all by myself and I got sponsors. And you see, I have a list of sponsors here, pages and pages inside of this book. So it's self-published, and I couldn't have done it without the help of my clients and my friends. So this is a worthwhile thing to have, and I think I have several 5-star review on Amazon for that.
Great. Chris asked if you did the photography.
I did.
Okay. Great. Cool. All right. We're gonna get on. We'll talk more about the book in a minute. I just want to go to the next slide because I want to ask Margarita. So here is a quote from Wayne Dyer. So the only limits you have are the limits you believe. So this is exactly what we're talking about. And when I sat back today and I thought, oh my God, I got to pay tribute to Wayne Dyer, but how am I going to do that? And I thought, well, it's perfect because his messages are going to go hand in hand with what we're saying today and what Margarita is going to say. Tell you what, I just plopped. What happened? Oh, I just plopped them in just randomly, and I thought, okay, when we get to it, we'll just talk about it, whatever it is, and I'm just going to trust. So the only limits you have are the limits you believe. Margarita, what do you say about that?
Oh, it's definitely true. You see, the mind is ruler inside. And if the mind believes that this can be done, it will be done. And if it believes that it can't be done, it can't be done. If you believe you're going to die tomorrow, there's people who have had that. That will happen, you know? And so the mind is actually over matter. The mind is over matter. So what goes on in your thought processes is very important to look at, because inside of each person, we have this constant self-talk, chatter, and maybe 15 radio stations going on sometimes. It's very important to train your mind, and this is something that I have focused on in the recent years, to train the mind to actually think more positive things. And with the help of crystals, I have done that. So meditating with the crystal, you have a little sphere here. It feels like an aura, an energy field that's emanating, and I'm sitting in it and it feels wonderful. And then I'm jiving with that crystal and all the other crystals here, and then I'm uplifted. And so then my mind also get uplifted, and the thoughts get aligned with the higher frequency.
So I want to interrupt you. So you take a crystal and you meditated with holding the crystal. And then you repeated, excuse me, you repeat that same process several times with the message or the healing that you want to do. Is that what you do?
Yes. So in the beginning, that's what I did. And I laid also stones on my body and did a self-healing session, or had another person facilitate it. But right now, I've got a step further. I work with images now, and these are called gem codes. And images are very powerful if you have intentional images. And it's like a visual intention. So I'm coming out soon with something called gem codes cards, which is like sort of like affirmation cards with healing stories. And I've had several programs with my clients where we use these images that they meditate with the image and they do certain visualizations and breathing and stretches and walks and stuff like that. And this helps enormously to support the person also with private guiding so that they can, oh yeah, that's what,
So, okay, so if you're having an issue, let's say with a memory of a parent, so what would be the picture, the image?
it depends on the person and where they are at, because you have to actually very carefully, you can't just say that it's all the same for everyone. So I'm starting the process with something simple and see if that works, right? And then we take it a step so that there is not like you're being thrown into the water, right? But that it's a like step-by-step thing, and that seems to help.
Hmm. Well, so somebody starting for the first time,
Mhm.
there's some general things, whether it's creativity, whether it's abundance, people want more money, they want a mate, you know, I mean, it's just like, all those kinds of things that generally stick out for the most part for people. Where would they start?
I think they should buy a crystal, a clear quartz crystal. Just that's the first step.
And
What happens?
and see what happens. Just buy the crystal.
Just buy one quartz crystals, maybe something that you can hold in your hand and try it. And then learn everything about it. I mean, you can go to my website. I have some resources there, but it's like it's not just the information about, oh, this crystal does this and this crystal does this. That's the lowest level.
Okay.
You have to decide what you want for your life. You have to create your own intention. If you read my book, there is 50 different practices that you can apply to actually heal the basic things.
Mhm.
And the beginning after buying a quartz crystal is probably to do chakra balancing and learn about your energy system.
So it's an empowering modality, is what it sounds like. That you have the power inside of you to turn that crystal on. Without the power in you to turn that crystal on, the crystal doesn't have the power. You give it the power that it needs. And you, in conjunction with the crystal, creates the healing, creates the magic, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, so what you do with this is you focus your intention on it, and then you can remember it, right? And then it holds this frequency anyway, right? You can program them at when you do that, then you can actually have something to hold on to.
Mm.
That's
Gotcha.
that's the easiest say,
That's easy.
A little baby needs a soother, right? And
Mhm.
this is sort of for similar.
So when somebody wears like a crystal, like I have a crystal, different crystals for around my neck, and sometimes I'll find myself like rubbing it. Like people wear crystals on their neck, so is that feel safe? I mean, what is that general? Okay, what does that mean to you? Your crystal around your neck.
Yeah, I also do healing jewelry, which is combinations of crystals. Like, I don't know if you can see this is a whole necklace uh, that keeps my energy steady on that state I want. And then I wear it all the way around my neck, or it could be a pendant too.
Hmm. Okay.
So if somebody's interested in doing jewelry, they can actually, I have a course for that also, that they can learn how to do it for themselves. And it's very popular.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, let's go to the next slide, which is very fitting, of course. You know how those things go. It's all like perfect, right? Okay, so the next one is miracles come in moments. Be ready and willing. Another Wayne Dyer quote. Basically, just so much like what we were just talking about. Miracles come in moments, right? Be ready and willing. If you're not ready to receive, the miracles are going on all around you. They're constant. If you're not willing to receive, not ready to receive, you're not going to see them. When you're ready, the miracles can work for you just like a crystal. What do you think about that, Margarita?
Well, every opportunity is always with us. So it's just for you to actually open your eyes to see it, to receive it in. And how to do that is to become present. And then it requires some kind of focusing exercise. So maybe a starter could be, oh, I am so grateful for that I'm alive today. If you can actually instill that in your heart and say, I am so grateful that I am alive today. That is a starting point to actually open up. But as in spiritual practices, you actually have to apply and commit to your journey. If you don't commit to it, well, then there is really, you need to put your own energy into your own passion into it, and that becomes meaning for you. And this is what we want here. We don't want people to just sit like drones and just watching lamely some kind of entertainment. That's not really what makes a person happy. It just maintains them. But if a person wakes up a little and can see that they too can do something, open their heart and open their minds and make a difference in life, then that is a whole different thing. So I encourage everyone to actually start to be creative and look for solution. You can do it. It's possible. It's amazing how some of my clients, they have just been like so stuck with things all around. I mean, you can almost see it. It's like walking around with the layers and layers around. And then when they open up, it's like, wow. It's like with that the spike I talked about in the beginning. It's like a wake up moment. And then they can do it by themselves. So that's very, very encouraging. And I'm very grateful, Marilyn, that you actually invited me today. And I'm really grateful for your friendship and being on your other show too. It makes sense for me.
Thank you. Oh, I appreciate you very much, and I appreciate your willingness to come on and share. I mean, you know, it's great. I've always known and that you can pick up a book and you can read it, one book 10 times and keep getting new things out of it. Well, many of you have come in contact with somebody talking about crystals or healing or creativity or ideas in multiple ways and multiple times in your life. But sometimes you hear it from somebody else. That one time something in that conversation is going to click. And I mean, this information, it's not that new. Maybe Margarita's taking a different spin. Maybe it's the furry thing on the back of her chair. Maybe it's her accent. Maybe it's just today. Who knows? But I just hope that, and I pray that there's something that you hear today that will resonate with you a little more than maybe you heard before. When I woke up this morning and I found out that Wayne Dyer had passed away, and he was like my first guru, the first teacher I had, the first person that could say something, the first messenger that I have had, that would say something to me that I would go, wow, that made sense. He would say when he wrote that he would write in a place and he would have all these books on his desk that he had read or that had some energy. And he would just keep it there. Just because when he would go to his desk and these books were on his desk, he felt the energy of these great books. And that would help him to write. There were things that he said to me that resonated throughout my whole life that I never forgot. And in my practice, one of the lines I use all the time is, if you cannot forgive, you might as well dig two graves, yours and the other person. So the more we bring these brilliance to the forefront, the more I share someone like Margarita who's in my life, I think you're going to hear something today, or you've already heard something today that you can take throughout your entire life. And I'm going to tell you something. She said things today that you're not going to be able to repeat. I promise it. You're not going to be able to repeat some of what she said, but what you are going to do is take away the feeling, take away the message, even if you can't repeat it. And that's okay. It doesn't matter. I don't care whether you can repeat it or not, as long as you've got the feeling inside of you. So that was one of my big messages, but I want you to hear that because people like Margarita in your life, just, just be open to what they might say. And in the moment that you're open is exactly the moment that you're going to hear something that's going to change your life. So can we put up the next? Okay, here's the last slide I have. Oh no, is that the one on Wayne Dyer? No, the first one before that. This is the last one I have that I'd like to read to you about Wayne Dyer before we continue with the rest of the show. You do not attract what you want. You attract what you are. Margarita?
Yeah, I so concur with that. Like if you have a loving feeling inside of your heart and you feel it, you are it. And so the practice for life is to practice the feeling you want to have inside so that that vibration can emanate everything in your life. And you could choose whatever vibration you want, of course. But I think the love vibration and the compassionate vibration and the care vibration and the gratitude vibration is particularly high. And if we have compassion with other people and other beings, like for example, care for the environment, then we actually lift us up and see that everything in the universe, everything in our life, it's alive, even though it's an old chair that we treasure, or a rock or a crystal that's there that helps us to amplify our own energy. And then when you can be grateful for the people who have helped you in your life, and then grateful for yourself that you actually took the step it took to actually achieve what you have achieved in your life, and not looking at failures as being bad, but failures is the progress of actually succeeding and not giving up. And so this is truly valuable. I thank you for bringing this quote up. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love everything you just said. I mean, about failure, because it's not. I mean, it's just another step forward. It's just it's another notch on your belt, so to speak, and that's really really important. And we don't really fail. There's no such thing. And what I read something this morning or yesterday, I can't remember what it was, but whatever you're doing, there was nothing else to do. There was nothing else to do. That was all there was. Whatever action you took, I have to understand this myself because I'm thinking about choice. But whatever action you take, whatever choice you made, that was the only choice to make. There was no other option. That was it. You did it, and you're supposed to, if you made a lesson happen, or you failed at something, quote unquote, not really, but you sort of did. It's only to learn something, to get stronger, to be able to manifest, to be able to emulate, to be able to, go forward. That's all there is. So there is no mistakes, really. It's just, there was the only choice you made, period. Just please know that. And when she talked about compassion and gratitude, life is taken care of when you are when you are grateful, when you show compassion, when you show love. Life takes care of itself. If all we did was that, and it's not something I can do all the time, it's part of my practice, is to stay in that mode of gratitude and appreciation and all of that. But when I do, life happens, and life happens good. So if you practice that, you're headed in the right direction, I would say. Margarita?
Yes.
You're smiling, honey. What do you think?
I don't think, I just feel really good. I really feel good. The environment here is so loving, and I just feel like radiating out. And I wish everybody who is on the show also can feel that thing coming out. Because when you look at something or a video or something online, sometimes it catches you. You feel the energy of what's projected out from that content. And sometimes it's very negative content, and then it's like have nightmares in the night after, or you are totally uplifted. So I hope that this would be a little uplifting experience for you to have listened to this show.
Yes, 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 yes. This work that I talk about and the things that Margarita talk about, the only way we know to talk about it is because we're going through it. You can't talk about this thing this way and if you're not actually going through it. So with all the lessons learned and with all the, remember, kind of failures but are not really, that's how you get to talk about this, and that's how you get to realize, oh, really? That's what gratitude really means. Oh, really? That's what joy is? Or, oh my gosh, you mean if I can look at this woman smile and I can feel something from that, and I can take that feeling and go share it somewhere else? Ah, that's what they were talking about. That's where they were with all of that. So remember that. And okay, so I could go on and talk about this with her, but I want to bring up the next slide because here is something that's very valuable and important to me. And I created this for myself as well as everybody else. And it's a listening manifesto. And it's a declaration of independence, I believe. So go to my website, MarilynShannon.com, download it, it's free. I've heard it saves people's lives, and the other day somebody told me it saved their marriage, because when you take listening on this level, um, you will hear words from a Wayne Dyer, from a Margarita, from yourself, and you will know what you're hearing and what is true for you. So go ahead and download it if you will. And the next slide, I wrote this morning when I was thinking about the show and thinking about all of you and feeling my feelings about Wayne Dyer, who touched my soul so greatly. And I wrote this. I really appreciate you. That's what I wrote down this morning. I had no idea what we were going to talk about. I had no idea where these conversations are going to go, but I wrote it this morning. I felt it, and I guess I helped to hopefully manifest it some in all of our lives and manifest it back to me because I can use it. So Margarita, in closing, what would you like to share with our audience today?
Well, I have a free seminar. It's on my website, thecrystallotus.com. And if you go and look at that seminar, Crystal Seminar, you can learn more how you can do some of the things we've talked about here. It's right underneath or at the sidebar on my website. It's called the Intuition Virtual Retreat. It's like you can watch it and you can schedule it, and then you can actually attain some of the things we've talked about today. And I am so grateful that you have listened to this. And thank you for inviting me, Marilyn.
My pleasure. And just, uh, a few words of closing, like a call to action. I know you just told everyone to go to your website, but what else from like an emotional, spiritual thing can you share with everyone from your deepest place?
Well, take command of your life. Be the manager of your life. Be present in your life and open up your heart and creativity. That is the first step to solve almost any problem. And when you stay in your heart with gratitude, then you are also inviting other people with the same mindset into your life. So this is what I would like to recommend for everyone.
That was beautiful. A beautiful basket. Thank you. And I thank you so much, Margarita, for being here with us today and sharing your casual way. You're just so beautiful, and the things that you said have such great meaning, and I will take them with me as well. And I want to thank all of you out here today that have been listening, watching the show. My love for you is strong, and I feel it from you as well. And I wish you all the very best today. And find yourself a guru. A guru is not someone who is sitting only on top of a mountain. A guru is anybody that touches your soul. Anyone who teaches you a little something today, that's a guru. So find yourself lots of gurus that will help you on your journey, as I have found on mine. and we're all in it together. So with that, I want to thank you again for being here, Margarita. I love you. I'll see you Thursday. Everybody out there, have a wonderful day. Take care. Until I see you again. Bye.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. Our weekly lineup of call-in programs includes Computers 2K Now with Amnon Nissan, Health In with Debbie Bruck, Breaking Free with Marilyn Shannon, Lessons of Vietnam with NCVBI members, The Tanya Love Show, Your Healthy Pet with Gisela DiCarlo. And if you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it at www.nissancommunications.com. Sponsored by Atomus.com, makers of quality video recorders and converters for professionals, CarolinaApparel.com, and DeltaForce.net.